everybody, it's Debbie here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoy this video. And if you're a returning subscriber, then thanks so much for coming back and supporting my channel. And this idea is something that's a little bit different and it's new to me. So it's not new, but it's new to me. So yesterday, I've just spent a couple of days where I just didn't feel great. So I basically did what everybody does when they go through that, and I watched YouTube videos. So yesterday I kind of fell down this little rabbit hole of watching snippet roll videos. I came across it purely by accident, and once I watched the first one, I watched every single one that I could find. And most of them were rolls of fabric snippets that were all glued together or sewn together. Some of them were glued and then sewn. And then I found one that was done with paper. So this is kind of my take on it, and I've come up with this version for me. This is what I'm going to do. So I went through a box of paper scraps, and I sorted into two piles everything that looked like it was going to be a vintage or a neutral, not necessarily a neutral, old looking, just vintagey and old looking. Anything that could pass for that, I put in this pile, and everything else. So I'm going to work on the vintage colored one first. And this is just my take. Remember, I'm not in no way, shape, or form. That might go nice in there to add a little pop of color to that vintage look. So even these ones would look nice in there in that vintage look. That peachy flower and that lace. Most of everything else in here, I think, is like summer or winter or bright colors or what have you. So I'm going to set this one over here, and I'm going to work on this one. I think that's too bright to be vintage, but I think that might be okay there. So then the next thing that I did was I took some mail, and I'll show you what I've done. I just took a couple of those larger sized envelopes that we get in the mail. I made sure that they were sealed right down and empty. And then I cut the envelopes into 2.5-inch strips. I decided to make mine 2.5 inches. I have a reason for it, but I don't think there is any steadfast rule about how wide these have to be. I saw some people that were making them 3 and 4 inches wide, and I saw other people that were making them on a whole sheet and then cutting them up into however many pieces they could get off of a sheet and gluing them together afterwards. But I decided to just cut mine into 2.5 inches. I opened the envelopes up, because this of course was like this. That was the envelope. So I opened it up from the side seam and glued my pieces together. So I have a piece that is, well, if I got my ruler and measured one of these lengths, I could multiply it. So this is like 9 inches. So this is about 36 inches long. So a yard, that's a good length, I think. And this is just another one. It was, it's junk mail. It's for the lottery. Everybody sends you things to buy lottery tickets for the different charities. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to use the white on the back, just because. So I'm going to leave the white on the back, and I'm just going to start here, and all I'm going to need to do this is glue, some scissors. I'm just going to use these ones, and I guess I'm just going to start. So what I'm going to do, I'll just start here at this end. So what I'm going to do is basically just lay strips of paper all the way down here. So I'm just going to rip it off, and then I'm going to take my tacky glue, and I'm going to run a piece of glue like that. I'm going to leave my bottle down like this, and I'm going to run a piece of paper across here like this. Then I'm going to take another piece, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this one like that. And I am going to, but this is a ripped edge, so I'm going to slide this one just under there like that. Now wherever I've got a straight edge, I'll try to put it along here so that I don't have as much cutting to do. There. So I don't care if it runs off the edge a little bit on the torn side or the, I actually like that. I'm just going to put that one there. And then see if I can put something in the middle between those two. So it's all personal choice. I mean, it's going to be what you like, of course. So I'm just going to do this. So I'm going to fast forward this. I'll slow it down. I'll keep it slow enough that you can kind of see what I'm doing. But instead of doing a bunch of editing and having you sit here and wait through it all, I'm going to fast forward till I get to the end of this roll. So my camera kept shutting off, and I just got so into what I was doing, so I'm not exactly sure where I ended off. But what I've done, I'm just going to recap this, was I took some of my pieces that I really liked, and I edged some of the white off of them, and I took my glue, and I went back over the top of this, and I just went along like this and thought, oh, I could use a piece of something interesting right there, like that. So a little bit of contrast. So I did that. That was one of the things I did. That's a really straight edge. I don't like that really straight edge. Don't know how it got there. But I do have this. So I'm going to take it and put it between those two pieces to get rid of the straight edge. Right there. There, and that does quite fine. That'll get rid of that. And so this is what I've been doing. So I've just been going over bits and pieces. Oh, there's a piece of this that's already ripped. And this is quite too much the same. So I'm going to, a little bit on that edge, my glue, of course, and I'm going to give that a little pop right there. Keep going, keep going, keep going. This is a pretty straight edge, but I think I can deal with that this way. I'm just gonna roll that. I got enough and the paper's thin enough that I can just roll that edge up and then just grunge it. So that's what I'm gonna do there, just to give that some interest. So that works. There's all kinds of things that you can do with these papers. So this white edge and that yellow paper, to me, it needs a little bit grunging. Just like that. Not much. Like, it didn't take much. There. And if you see anything that just looks, I mean, these papers were kind of old-fashioned to me. But now that they're on here, look at this. This is an embossed yellow paper. Look what happens when I use a little bit of this walnut stain on here. Perfect. Just perfect. And the same with this sparkly piece that I started with. Let's just take that down a tone, shall we? There. That is perfect. So, I'm liking that. I think this is done. This is the base for the perfect snippet roll. Just a base for a perfect snippet roll. So what I'm going to do with this is, so I've got 36 inches of this. Like, that's a lot of pieces if I want to cut pieces off of this and make something. So it needs to dry a little bit more. But what I'll do with this when it's done is, this is going to be rolled, or it wouldn't be a snippet roll. So all I'm going to do with this is roll it up like this and set it into a basket. Now, when I reach for something, I have all, I mean, this is an unlimited choice because I can cut from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, anywhere along here in any of these color combinations that I like. And I'm just going to edge the edge of this vellum. There, and I'm curling it all up. I like that vellum curls so easily. It just mangles up really good. I'm going to do it on this side too. There. I need a little bit more stain. I'm going to stain this underneath and this little bit. Roll that corner up. Why not? Right? Like that's now a piece. So the next step in this would be decorating. I used my tacky glue for this because it doesn't, of all my glues that I had, I think that the tacky glue was the one that's least likely to go really hard and crunchy. And so anyway, so most of the snippet rolls that I saw when I was carousing around yesterday on YouTube were fabric. Tons and tons and tons I could find of, well, not tons and tons, but it just seemed like it went on forever for me. But lots of fabric snippet rolls, which were really, really cool. And they'd make them on a big sheet and they would cut them afterwards, like with their fabric cutter roller thingies. I'm not a big sewer, so I don't have any of that. But I think that would be really cool to do with paper. So what if you started off with a 4 or an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of printer paper and put really long strips all the way down and then cut it and sliced it into pieces. I may do one that way too. I think there's so many different ways that you could do this. I saw one girl do her roll using the roll of paper that comes out of a cash register, those cash register rolls. I don't know how wide they are, so I don't know how wide she got it in the end, but I can't remember what she said. But yeah, so go check out YouTube. Just Google snippet rolls and travel from there and see what you come up with. So what I've been doing while I've been talking to you is just going back and forth, up and down this row, looking to see if anything jumps out at me that I think needs some help. And all I'm doing is using my blending tool and my walnut stain and giving things a little bit of help. So yeah, that's all I'm doing, because I want this to have a certain grungy look to it, this roll. And I think I'm accomplishing that and drawing all these papers together with this. Look at how simple and easy this is, especially with any of the embossed paper and the texture, because those bits that stand up are definitely catching the ink a little bit more. So I think that's it. I've gone all the way down to the end, and I've gone all the way down to the other end, and I've done, I'll probably find some more. I could go back over this over and over and over and probably find places that I wanted to put a little bit of this stain. So yeah, so I'm going to be done. I have to call an end to it. So I'm going to be done. So this is it. I'm really happy with it. I'm just going to go through, I'm going to move this, and I'm going to go through one more time from top to bottom and just run it through so that you can see it. And if you're new here, thanks once again. So I'm thinking of going and zigzag stitching just with a cream colored thread or a brown colored thread all the way down both sides of this, which will be really better, and it will help some of these edges stay down. But if you don't have a sewing machine and you've got edges that are popping up that you don't want to pop up, like, I mean, if I cut this into some smaller pieces, some of these little bits that pop up might fall off. So yeah, just go along and glue some of those edges down, and that's all you're going to have to do to secure all of this. So you don't need to have anything but paper, glue, and a pair of scissors to do this. So yeah, another build your stash video, and I love this one. So this will probably get decorated with some vintage buttons, but I probably won't decorate it until I cut each piece off, and then I might decide what I need for any specific thing. So I made mine 2.5 inches wide. And the reason that I made it 2.5 inches wide was because I could cut a 3.5-inch piece off of this, and I've got an ATC card background once I trim it up. And then just imagine, you know, putting a focal point on top. And yeah, so people that love to make ATC cards, wouldn't this be awesome in your stash? Absolutely awesome in your stash. So what if I'm doing a journal and I want to go down the page of a journal and put a tuck spot in? Well, what if I took this and glued it, cut it the size of my page, and then glued it around? What an awesome tuck spot that would be. And all that would entail would be evening up one side. I'm not liking that straight edge right there. So as I'm talking, I'm just kind of looking at it and thinking. But anyway, so that's my video. What else could you use this for? Well, I'm doing an art journal page, and I just want something that is interesting. So I could just take a little chunk of this and glue it down in a corner or in a top corner, or even down the middle of a page so I can slip something behind it. You can use this for whatever you want to use this for. This would make great bookmarks. If you have this, make sure it's all glued down well so it's not going to fall apart. Cut your tag, put a ribbon on top, and what a fabulous bookmark this would be. I'm just trying to come up with ideas here. So yeah, use your imagination, and I'm sure you will find a ton of things to do with this. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this. When I do some of the decorating for this, I may come back and show you that, but I think this is pretty much done. I'm going to use my other colored papers and probably make another one, but just recently I've been working on a lot of vintage junk journal stuff, and I think this would be really amazing. And what a cool swap as well. You could make, say, 18 inches of this a couple of times over and trade it with, so I've got 3 feet here. So what if I cut off 12 inches and sent it to 3 different people, but those 3 different people each sent me back one that they made, which would be completely different papers. What a way to build your stash that way. And because you can make so many feet of this, it would be great for multiple swaps. Absolutely great for multiple swaps. And in that case, you wouldn't want to glue down your edges. You might want to go to the 12-inch mark and cut this underneath the paper so that you have a full piece on the end of each one. Yeah, so the possibilities are fabulous. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Comment if you think that this is a good idea, using rolls of paper or long strips of paper to make paper snippets. And yeah, if you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, join my channel. And I am doing a lot of build your stash videos. I've been just searching Pinterest and searching YouTube and doing coming up with all kinds of ideas that I can put my spin on to make some build your stash type of videos, basically because I want to build my stash. It was getting down. I hadn't done paper crafting for a long time, and it was getting down, and I needed to build my stash. And this is the quickest way I know to do it, by doing things in multiples. And this is one roll, but it's multiples. So yeah, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So that's it. Bye-bye for now, everybody. Have a wonderful day crafting. And until then, I'll see you in the next one.